Right then, let's get into this.
ggTV episode 3! Yeah!
He had to go in there, didn't he? He had to go.
He is back on in this motherfucker.
Yeah. Every time.
Hey guys, Feral here. I'm joined again with Joe and Taylor for a hell of a good time, I imagine. This time we're going to be going round and going through Joe's top 5. We did mine last time, and we're going to do Taylor's next. They won it. Joe won it with a rock paper scissors contest.
It was rigged. Rigged. That I'm telling you, the most bullshit rock paper scissors game I've ever played.
I watched back the bit of footage of that last one. It was totally out of sync, and like you finished, and then I'm just like, oh,
didn't make any sense. Yeah, honestly,
no cheating going on there. But yeah, generally, I just had lag like IRL, so.
I don't know what happened.
It did look.
It looked sketchy.
It looked rigged.
Like something out like side-scrolling 10 frames per second game.
Welcome to my old gaming PC. Man. So what's on the menu for tonight then, Kai, Mr. Feral? What do we got?
So we're going to run through what games people have been playing this week, and then we're going to run through the news, and then straight after that we're going to go into the main topic, which is Joe's top 5, and then we'll round that out and then say goodbye, prep you for the next episode. So if you guys want to throw us a like, subscribe now, that'd be dope. Right then. So, gaming-wise, this week I finished God of War 2018, which, holy shit, I don't want to drop spoilers because Joe's in the chat. Holy shit.
Is that the first time you finished it? I thought you'd already done it. That's why I was talking to you last time. God, I feel like a shitbag now.
I got so far through it and then bought a PS5 to actually get it to play properly.
So did you start it again? Or...
yeah, I started completely
amazing.
Again. I was literally like more than halfway through the game the first time. But
yeah,
I finished that this week. I've started revisiting Plague Tale Innocence. I'll go into that in the news. A little bit of Overwatch, as per always. Probably the person with the most hours on Overwatch here. In fact, I definitely am. I know
I've never even picked it up, so yeah.
Just for the viewers watching then, Kai, what are you up to on hours spent in Overwatch?
Like 890 or something like that. So not like crazy, but
enough. Yeah.
And my plan is I'm going to finish Plague Tale before going into Final Fantasy VII Remake, because I started that this week, and I was like, do you know what? I've just finished God of War. I need a short game, and that's Plague Tale for me. So, Taylor, why don't you tell us what you've been playing this week?
So, still chipping away at Zelda, Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, boy.
Just done the second Divine Beast on that, so I did the elephant one first, and I've been and done the camel dude down in Gerudo Desert.
Nice.
I just can't get enough of it. Like, I find myself when I'm not playing it, I want to be playing it. Like, and it's like,
that's awesome.
It's you know, when you get into that really addicted RPG, like, I'm hooked on this game. Like, all I want to play is this game. Like, I can't wait to make my character better. I can't wait to do this. Like, so I'm at that really nice, like, just enjoyment, like, middle of the game. There's so much to go and do and see. So I'm really, really, really enjoying that. I think I'm coming towards the end of Metro Exodus as well. So...
Okay.
Enjoying that.
Very good.
Yeah, it's good. I've obviously been playing it. I waited for the 60 frames per second 4K update, and I'm so glad I did because it's beautiful. Other than that, that's it. I have got Resident Evil Village on the back burner at the minute, but me and my missus play that together, so like I'll play it and like then she'll help me do the puzzles and shit together. So that's what I've been playing this week. So yeah,
very nice.
It's good.
Get Village completed, man. It's
we've just got so we've just done the Lake Townish guy, the little fishy dude.
Oh, Moreau.
Yes, yeah. Well, we'll have to discuss Village at some point because there's some little nods in there towards some. You ever heard of a book called The Island of Dr. Moreau? And it's there was like a film of it in the 90s or something, but in the game you find notes and stuff that's like, oh, Moreau's clinic and all that, and I'm like, oh, it's Dr. Moreau. Like, is that a bit of a nod towards that book or something? I don't know. Interesting. We'll have to think about it. But so we've just done that, and we're heading towards the factory now. So
Ah,
I'm
sick,
sure
sick.
shit is going to go down, and I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, but really good, really enjoying it.
Awesome.
Yeah, really great.
Glad to hear it. And
Joe, what are you out playing?
Always going to be something a bit strange. So, Age of Mythology, the extended edition, started that again because my work laptop is only capable of running very basic stuff. So, a little Asus laptop with a Ryzen 3500U. I put an extra 8 gig of RAM in it, so it's running 16 gigs now, but it's not a powerful machine. So doing that on like lunch breaks and thing, which is pretty cool. And I've just clocked Man of Medan, which is my first time playing it through. I really enjoyed it. I managed to save everyone. So
freaking amazing game, man.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed
it. What's it kind of gameplay wise? What are we talking?
Resident Evil 2. The original one on PlayStation, because you have that weird thing where you walk into angles. And, like,
has it got like the set camera angles and stuff?
They do follow you around because they are.
I'm downloading it.
3D rendered. Yeah.
So it looks good though.
The controls are so weird sometimes. Like you'll come through like a door, and then
you end up going back through the door or something. Like that's the worst. Yeah.
It's a bit jank, and my storyline went a bit weird towards the end as well. There's a bit where you can pick up a scuba diving set and you try and escape with it. I didn't manage to do that, and then towards the end, the character that was supposed to have that just kind of got washed into this area, and it was like, how did you get there? Like, obviously there's a bit missing there, so it's not without.
So is it like a horror kind of like?
Yeah, it's like a sort of suspensey, mostly quick time events, and basically this is probably going to put any listeners off who haven't played it. You go around, you find clues as to what happens on this ship that you find yourself on. A lot of reading, and then in between that, it's punctuated with quick time events and choices that you make are permanent. So there's no save scumming.
So like it can affect the story and stuff then, kind of thing.
Yeah, apparently there's loads of different ways of doing
many
it.
endings.
So I'm not going to replay it myself.
That'll definitely go on the list, the never-ending list of games.
I think the best way to explain it is like if you ever played the Telltale Walking Dead games. It's literally, and they do the same. It's the Dark Picture anthologies. So they started off with Until Dawn on PS.
Fantastic game.
Great game, really good game. But then after that, they started the Dark Picture anthologies, which is Man of Medan. There's House of Ashes, which is the next one coming out. What was the first one, Joe? I can't remember.
They mention it in the game, but I wasn't really paying attention. I was just thinking, oh, cool, I saved everyone.
Little Hope. That was the other one. Little Hope, which is
that rings a bell. I'll have a look at it. I have seen, because Man of Medan is on Game Pass, isn't it? So
yeah, and it's got a party mode, so play it with your missus. She'll love it. It's great.
Yeah, if you play it through by yourself and then get your missus to play it through, and she'll make different decisions, or like maybe not be so quick at the quick time event. So like maybe one character would take a slightly different route than the other one, and you get to see sort of.
I'll pitch it to her. She's very picky about games, but it sounds.
It's not very long as well. This might be a selling point to her. So if you don't have a lot of time and you want to sort of enjoy a game, and there's more than one of you, this is one for you FIFA widows out there, or your Fortnite widows. Not that anyone with Fortnite probably has a partner in their life, but there we go. I think that's all the games I've been playing. I mean, I've been dabbling on stuff, just booting it up and see how well it performs on the Series S. I've managed to. I had a horrendous time buying Super Mario All Stars on Switch. So ages ago, it was on sale as part of maybe like, I don't know, 35th anniversary or whatever it was, and I didn't have the cheese at the time to pick it up. So now I do. I went back and they stopped selling CD keys for it, and you can't buy them anywhere apart from this one site, which was dodgy. So I don't actually have that game attached to my Nintendo account. I had to sign in on my Switch as this account that they kind of gave me the details for, and it's just a sketch fest. But it's worked so far, and it hasn't yet disappeared. And if it does disappear and I copy it up, then
whack though, isn't it? Like
buy from safe sources. If you're getting CD keys, I could recommend cdkeys.com. I've used that for years, and it's been flawless. So if you're listening and you're like, oh, I do fancy getting those games, although obviously you wouldn't say it like that because you're probably not a prick like I am, then do yourself a favour and get your games from there. But yeah, that's it. That's me. That's what I've been playing.
Yeah, man. Good list. Yeah.
That's solid, dudes. So for if we have any regular listeners at this point, this is going to be a new feature that we have in pretty much every week or every other week, where we discuss like what games we've been playing each week. So yeah, that's that. Right then, news, and it's been kind of a mixed bag news-wise. So we had, and this is obviously covering last week as well. We had the State of Play reveal from Sony, which was crap.
Savage.
There was a couple of little indie things, but there was no news on any of the big titles that anyone's waiting for. So it was kind of bad. And then PlayStation 5 went a little bit further on their crap spree, and they released an advert. An advert trying to sell you a PlayStation 5. Where the PlayStation 5 was upside down. They have since removed this advert.
Someone definitely lost their job that day.
yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I do get it. I've got the disk drive PS5, and it's a weird looking fucking thing.
It looks like the tower from Lord of the Rings, like the eye of Sauron. Like,
but I just think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
On Game Pass, so I know we've briefly mentioned A Plague Tale in one of our earlier episodes. On Game Pass, that has now had the 60 frames per second.
Is that on now?
Update.
Yeah.
That's up there now. I've been trying it today. It works absolutely flawlessly. That's on Series S and Series X.
Is it looking good? Yeah.
Mate, it looked good before. Apart from now, it's smooth.
Oh, I'll get it done.
So
yeah.
good.
Like this.
So anyone... like that shiny ass dome.
Keep that in, don't edit that out.
I ain't editing that out. But anyone that has been waiting to play A Plague Tale, now is the chance to jump in. And if you're on PS5, not PS4 however, it is included on the PS Plus service as your monthly game, so do get that downloaded. Same again, 60 frame a second version of it, so get on it, play it. Sequel's going to be coming out on Xbox Series S and X a little bit later on through the Game Pass. Next bit of news, Assassin's Creed. Now, I'm not a very big Assassin's Creed fan.
I'm not a fan at all.
I don't know that many will be after this decision. So Assassin's Creed, big single-player event where you go around, you go up a bunch of towers, look around the world, do endless fetch quests, and collect a bunch of shit. Joe, don't disagree, you know I'm right. They're making it a live
comeback
service
to that. That's
game.
exactly what it is.
What, so it's going to be like an online thing?
They're making it a live
like an
live
MMO
game.
kind of thing?
Kind of like, I imagine more like The Division, where they have like changing seasons and stuff. Maybe a battle pass kind of thing.
I don't give a shit.
Right? What they need to do now is they need to do what God of War did and reinvent the fucking series.
I couldn't even tell you that I think I played Assassin's Creed 1 and that was it. I think I played Black Flag for a very brief time.
Fun story, I played Assassin's Creed 1 like literally just after it came out, and it's the only one that I put quite a few hours in. I got like, I don't know, maybe 20 hours. I'm guessing this was years ago. I did quite a bit of it, and it was boring as fuck.
Yeah.
I didn't play any others until Unity came out, and it was co-op, and it was shit, so I didn't play that again. And then also, hilarious release on that, every fucking thing in that
Was
game
that where like all the faces fell out and there was just like eyes and shit? It was like haunting, yeah.
And then... what was the Origins? I think it was Origins.
Origins sounded alright, actually.
It was good.
Yeah, they changed all the gameplay style for it, didn't they?
They made...
yeah.
Hands down, they made the intro freaking amazing. You get this giant mace thing, you get to beat people to death. The kills feel really pleasing.
I heard
like
they made
really engaged
like
with it.
It was more like Dark Souls. Dark Souls style combat. And it benefited so much. I've heard that. Yeah.
And then they just free up a bunch of towers and made you do the same shit again. So I did the intro and then uninstalled that forever.
For me, I think Assassin's Creed, I think, is definitely in the Marmite category. You either love that shit or you hate that shit. And I am a firm...
checklists or you don't.
I'm a firm hate that shit side. I just can't get into it. But I can understand why people do. I understand why people do like them games. But people like Call of Duty, alright, yeah, it's alright, yeah. But Assassin's Creed, I just can't get on with. Just not my. I mean, people must like it because they do it every bloody year. Like it must be popular. Yeah, and I don't doubt that you don't. I'm sure you think it is, but it's just.
But you're wrong, boy. But you're wrong.
But not for me. Yeah.
So moving on from Assassin's Creed, I'm completely in Taylor's camp on that one.
Sorry, Joe.
It's all good.
I'm handing this one over to Joe because I've got mixed feelings on it. Nintendo Switch announced an OLED model. So over to you, Joe.
And that's the news. Moving on to the next section. No, I'm kidding. It could be that. So, initial thoughts. I, like Taylor, real massive fan of Breath of the Wild. I've loved all the games that I've had on Switch. I've been very selective with which ones I've picked up, and that's made my experience with the console that much better. In handheld mode, like we were mentioning in the other episodes, you can get away with the graphics being 30 frames a second. Up to 720p. Notice I'm not saying locked, and I'm definitely not saying above and like super sampled or anything. That's forgivable. There's a part of us, well, a part of me anyway, that's kind of thinking, oh, Nvidia make these DLSS 2.1 or 2 or whatever's out now is actually really sick. Why not upscale that to 1440p, 4K or whatever? Put a bit more balls in it, and just do a refresh on the hardware. That was my initial thoughts. Then my second lot of thoughts were like, this is what the Switch, it's like its ultimate form, like a Pokemon that's fully evolved. Like, this is the very best version of the Switch with this processor and hardware in it. And then I caught a Dave2D video, and he looked a bit further into it.
This is what changed my mind.
And just for anyone who's not caught that video, he's basically saying that the Switch, since lockdown and COVID, has done absolutely phenomenally well. It's actually sold more this year, the COVID year, than it did in 2019, which is nuts.
Really?
Like,
wow,
consoles
that's interesting.
Don't tend to do that, and I'm not sure if that's over all the different iterations of it, but nevertheless, so you can understand that a lot of people, buyer's remorse is a thing, but why would you retool everything? Why would you manufacture hardware where there's a chip shortage going on, where everyone's so competitive for it, and to purchase your next batch of chips for your consoles, you're going to have to pay a lot to get in that queue. I mean, you're up against Apple and who's the other one who bought up 5nm TSMC? Intel of all people. So you'd be going against some big budgets. And Dave2D's line was amazing. Nintendo are the masters of doing just enough. And I think that if I didn't have a Switch and I saw the new console and there is no refresh, there is no Switch Pro in the works as far as we know. I know it's been leaked to hell, but it's not materialized, so perhaps we were wrong. I would say this is probably the best version of that particular console. Like, how you get like a PlayStation 1, and then you got the really cool slim PlayStation 1, and it's the same with almost every console. The Xbox One X was just so cool, and then the PS4 Pro was not that great, but
even the Xbox 360 got like a smaller model at one point, didn't it? And even the PS3 had 2 or 3 models after the initial PS3. So for me, I feel like the Switch OLED is literally just an inch bigger screen. That's it. That's all. And
it's not even that, is it?
It's not even that. And OLED, it'd be very nice. But I'll be honest, like, having just bought a Switch, I really couldn't care less. Like,
I'm not going to be buying it.
Yeah.
I had the second generation Switch where they updated the hardware ever so slightly, and you get like a tiny bit more battery life out of it, apparently.
Mine's got the battery life. Mine's got the better battery life. That's the one I've got, which I'm fine by me. Happy with that. Yeah. Turn the brightness down.
I think this is one to. I mean, when you manufacture a massive batch of consoles, eventually you run through all your parts and you've done that thing. So, with parts becoming available, it makes financial sense to do that. I mean, the only thing I will say about this one before we move on, because I don't want to spend too much time on this necessarily, but Bluetooth headsets still don't work with it. Chat features still not great.
To argue that point, I've been testing this actually. The newer consoles don't support Bluetooth headsets at all.
They all should.
What?
Yeah, if you've got Bluetooth, there's
Xbox,
no excuse.
Xbox Series X and PS5 don't support Bluetooth headsets. They use their own proprietary stuff only.
That's bobbins.
Which is crazy. I did not know that.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that till just now.
Jumping on this point, though, I think that's more forgivable because a home console is linked up to a TV, not necessarily using a Bluetooth headset with that. But
Fair.
when you're on the move and you have your AirPods with you, that's when you kind of want to be listening to it. And I just think it's there was something about
the Switch.
Having
The
8
Switch
Joy-Cons.
really should have a Bluetooth ability for a headset. The Switch, like of all consoles.
This is one thing that I don't know if it was updated in this version, but it's still Bluetooth 4.1, I believe. So there's a number of devices that it can actually support, and I think that a headset, as well as in theory 8 individual Joy-Cons, that would take it over the limit. So I guess we'll see. But moving on to the next bit, because
yeah,
we'll
I just want to put in one little piece on it. Like, I know, like the tout in the OLED screen. OLED looks great. Anyone that's seen OLED knows. But it's not new tech in handheld. PS Vita was OLED. That said, if I was, because unlike you two, I don't have one. If I was to buy one now, I would be looking for the old model because you're going to get some hefty discounts and you're not really losing much.
No.
That's just my last little bit on that.
No, especially if you're playing on the big screen as well. Like,
exactly.
And then even if you are playing handheld, unless you're a diehard...
You're still getting a good experience.
Yeah, unless you're a diehard Nintendo fan and you want to look at Breath of the Wild in OLED while you're on the go. If you're someone who plays handheld gaming a lot, then yeah, I can see why you'd want an OLED screen, but... Someone who's
it's
a casual.
not going to be as good as the LCD one.
No,
the
man.
colours aren't as bright. It's dark, and if you're playing outside, you're screwed.
I have got something to add on news. Actually, have just come to my head.
Okay.
WitcherCon has just been,
Yes.
and Witcher 3 is getting 4K 60 frames per second this year. Fucking
And ray tracing, right?
Give it to me. I'm happy to lose myself another 500 hours in that game or some shit because
I think Joe is too.
But
Funny you say that.
They're giving you the ability to play as Henry Cavill Geralt from the show.
Really?
I think so. Yeah, which is cool.
I didn't know that. That was fucking sick.
I think he did a really good job in the show. So I'd say that. Yeah, I think it was sick. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that is the case. That you can have Henry Cavill skin for Geralt. So it doesn't no announced date as of yet, but will be cool. Season 2 for Witcher as well got announced, so that's sick. So yeah, that's just my little piece to add. I'm sure it's one of the best RPGs ever made. Definitely 100% deserves a 4K upgrade because it's a wonderful. It was a beautiful looking game anyway. So it still holds up. So that's going to look insane on Series X. So yeah, I've still got the disc. I've still got the disc copy. So that will be getting installed when that comes on. I mean, it's on Game Pass, isn't it? So winner either way. Yeah. So
for sure.
That's all. I've not really seen anything much this week, to be honest. I've been mad busy. So.
Yeah, same.
To be fair, I quite enjoy staying up with the news anyway. Like it's, I watch the Friday night news with Gamer Ranks on YouTube.
Cool.
Like, I literally watch that every week.
Really?
So I try and stay as up to
sweet.
date with it as I can.
Come on.
Was there some Fallout news?
Right.
Fallout 76 got a new update. Can't remember what it is. I've got it on my Xbox installed. There's some big mutant thing on it, super mutant. It'll just be another season, won't it? Yeah, it'll be another season, 76 season.
To be fair, like I know Fallout 76 gets like more hate than pretty much every.
It's all right.
Made, apart from pre-release No Man's Sky or post-release, should I say? But I will say, like, and the people that have played 76 know exactly what I say when I say this now. Like, it's actually a really fucking fun game.
It's just Fallout 4 multiplayer. That's all it is. That's all it is. It doesn't look any better than Fallout 4. It doesn't look any worse than Fallout 4. It's just Fallout 4 with multiplayer and seasons and whatever else, and then that's it. Like, maybe it would have been better as a DLC than a full game for Fallout, like a full release. Maybe if they'd done it as like a 30 quid DLC, here's this new map we're giving you, oh yeah, it's multiplayer as well. I think that might...
I mean, to be fair, to play argument with that, though, there was a point where you could buy this game for £5 because it crashed so hard on release.
Yeah, there is that, true.
But yeah. Moving on anyway.
Yeah, let's go.
So,
let's
on to the main topic. So today it is Joe's top 5, and I'm very, very excited
I'm excited to hear these. Yeah.
So we... it's been a little bit of planning on this, hopefully, and I know obviously he's told me that he's got a couple of regrets about some that we just can't fit on the list.
So many.
Maybe for you diehards, we'll do a feature episode in the future time where we have taking it up to a top 10 maybe for us all. But
yes.
Take it away, Joe.
Are you going from bottom to top? You've got to go bottom to top.
Bottom to top, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
That's it. So this was really solid, and I'm going to start with a game where I spent far too many hours on this, and I realised that I wasn't a South Korean, and I kind of got disheartened. But let me just, I'd like to just share a little scene, like a favourite scene from each of these games, just to see if you can kind of guess it before I jump in. So I've spent ages building up. I've gathered so many resources. I'm feeling really confident, and the terrain changes when I take all my forces over it. This is really strange. And then out of nowhere, these like enemy creatures just come out of the ground and just tear everything to shreds. And I'm left there, and there's a massive swarm just devouring all my people, and then headed towards my base, just ripping everything to shreds in its path. And the sort of space cowboy kind of vibe was amazing. It's the first RTS game that I can remember where there was 3 distinct factions. I mean, I'm GDI and Nods, Allies and Soviets, Core and ARM. There's all these different games where there was just 2. This is the first one that I can remember that had 3 in it, and it's StarCraft. Not StarCraft 2, but StarCraft OG.
I was waiting for you to say StarCraft then, yeah.
Yeah, so the sound design, the artwork, everything about that, the voice acting, the storyline, I just found it so compelling. Now, I'm playing this quite a while ago. I'm a 1986 dude, and I wasn't that old when I'm playing this game, and I'm just absolutely captivated by it. The base building, the resources, and how dynamic the combat was. And I think there's no mistaking that it's obviously a very well balanced game. There's a Blizzard game, and it's still being played competitively now after all these years. Which, when you think about it, is nuts.
Yeah.
But the disheartening thing is when if you're on headset with someone you're playing against and you just hear the keys going like that before you've even started, you're gonna lose that one, because what they've done is they've got their hands ready to press all the shortcuts and get like their base is already just like hoovering in resources. Where you're like, oh, shall I have like 4 servitor bots or whatever, or 4 little like Zerglings, whatever the hell they were, that gathered your resources.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, get a couple of drones, or shall I build, a Hydralisk den? And they've got a full force coming to destroy you, and it was a short match. So
ready
thank you,
go.
South Koreans, for making me feel extremely white.
Yeah.
And time constraint. Thanks. I might transition into your race, because apparently that's the thing now. Let's put always like some kind of point like that.
Yeah.
So that's my 5 of 5. So I don't know if you guys have any comments if you've even played it yourselves.
Never played StarCraft.
With you saying about how big it is, it's funny because I've just opened up a tab for the original StarCraft on Twitch now, and just to put it in perspective, there's no titties on my screen. But
on Twitch?
5,900. There are 5,900 people actively watching the original StarCraft right now, which is insane for a game of that age. Absolutely freaking insane.
Yeah.
So hell of a strong shout for number 5.
Yeah, definitely.
And I've completed that game maybe 10 times. Yeah, so there's the story mode.
Never played it.
Damn.
Sick, man.
So the next one then. A favourite moment from this game, and I think I'll just go right back to the start of it. The cutscene, absolutely incredibly done, way before motion capture as far as I'm aware, and the whole universe of this just totally captured me. it was the most fun I've had. So I was back at Adams Grammar School playing this one, and my friend Christian Guest, tactless bastard. This is Dusk for any of you guys watching who get that joke. Tactical espionage action, was it? I think that was the key. So yeah, one scene from this is you've been sent in to stop this world threatening nuclear weapon. Nothing the world's never seen this before, and it turns out that at the end of this, you're locked in a room in a hangar with your clone piloting this huge mecha that has nuclear warheads and stuff in it. And you're just a bloke, and up until this point, stealth and craftiness have been your allies and your tools. Just hiding for long enough that the AI kind of forget that they've just seen someone on this top security base. But we can forgive that because this is a PlayStation 1 era game. And there's only so much coding you can do back then. It's Metal Gear Solid OG again.
Yeah.
So absolutely love that game. The esoteric nature of that, like it was a cool action game, but it was a bit weird. It was a bit kooky, and Hideo Kojima, man, his direction for the time. I mean, there was about 28 polygons on screen at any one time. It looked going back now, it looks rubbish. There was a Dreamcast emulator version where you could sort of upscale or anti-alias or something. Then I think there was a GameCube release, and then there was like a PlayStation 3 or 4. Sort of package where they did the first 3, I believe. It's just a fantastic game, and so compelling. Like, there's so many memes about running around with a cardboard box over your head and setting claymores and shooting. Like, I really love the series. Although I've not played 4, and I've not completed 5 yet. You need to be in the right headspace for that.
Sure.
But yeah, Metal Gear Solid, amazing times doing that. And one of the reasons I enjoyed that game so much is I was at boarding school at the time, so all the boys was there, and we would sort of take turns playing certain games, and Metal Gear Solid was one of my ones, and we played all through that, and just like seeing the storyline, it was just crazy, and like everyone in the whole school is going around like trying to be stealthy for the next couple of weeks or whatever to get out of the system and grow up a little bit. But what an incredible time I had playing that game. Loved it.
Yeah, I know. Like, I mean, that is one of the PlayStation 1's finest moments.
Yeah, 100%.
To this day, just one of Sony's best moments in gaming. I think.
But it still holds up. Like, you see it. Like it's
so many great out of game experiences with it though. Like, trying to find Meryl's codec and how to be Psycho Mantis and
was
stuff
it
like that.
Psycho Mantis that read your memory card? And like, it was like, oh, I see you've been playing like Spyro 2 or something, and it was like absolutely crazy. Like, that was a sick feature. Like, but when you think about like a game like that to have such a good narrative for like a 1990 watt game, like insane. Like, insane. I mean, Final Fantasy and stuff are obviously along the lines, but Metal Gear Solid, like, to have that like third person, you're playing that one character and to have such a deep story. I mean, I never finished it, but I know how well respected that game is. So yeah, insane.
There's such good reason.
It brought so many fucking excellent villains as well. Can we stop on that for a moment?
I don't know enough about it, but I know how well appreciated that game is. Yeah, definitely.
The first time you fight like Vulcan Raven or someone, or Sniper Wolf, and I was thinking, and it just got better from there. What I really liked about it as well is it was a more, I know it's a game, so it's fancy, it's made up, everyone knows it's not real, but it had a bit of reality tied in there. Now, like, I'm sure it'd probably be cancelled now because of it's all conspiracy theories and this kind of thing, like the Lolly Lulelo. Lolly Lulelo, what the hell are you on about? Like, there's some crazy tangents that it goes off on, but you kind of, as you're going around there, it kind of makes you think. You're like, and then you start speaking like this. We're making the frogs gay, and you become Alex Jones. So that's one reason. So to be careful. Trigger warning if you're going to play Metal Gear Solid in 2021, but I'd highly recommend it.
Snake!
We're going on to the next one then. Oh yeah, and make sure you fight your clone brothers.
Number 3!
This is solid. I don't know what to do for this next one. I've got the list in front of me, but I don't know what I'm doing in order-wise. I'm going to go...
This is how I was with mine.
Yeah, it's tricky, man. I put mine in an order, but... Yeah.
Okay, so...
Shoot.
I've just been through, like, an opera. It's been absolutely incredible. So much stuff has happened. The stakes could never be higher, and I've done effed up because the entire, like, world around me is just exploding. And literally, the world that I'm on is shattering around me, but I spy a vehicle. The way that I'm going to escape this, my possible salvation is miles away. I'm never going to make it, but I give it a go. I step in that warthog. I do not take my foot off the accelerator the entire way around. I flip the damn thing several times. I flip it back over and just hope that like the panel that I'm on isn't just going to suddenly like spontaneously explode. There was no rhyme or reason to how those tiles were actually going to blow up, so it was a lot of fun. And then descending down that ramp after you've just made it there, and bearing in mind all the enemies, it's Armageddon for them too. They're so like trying to like, oh, what are we going to do? For me, they mostly just forgot me and just left like fleeing on their own things. And then you've got this like, you know, all-consuming, voracious enemy just trying to eat every little bit of flesh that it can at the time, just making the most of it. It doesn't even know it's going to explode any second. But then you make it to the top of that ramp, and you go for it, and you go for it, and you're like, boom, like that. And wait, am I getting too mixed up with that? Which is the one where you go down the ramp and kind of like make that jump in the end? Is that one?
I'm sure is it
because
Halo
my favorite
1?
game.
Yeah,
Combat
sure
Evolved.
Yeah.
Halo Combat Evolved is going to be the best one. Now, I spent a lot of time playing that game, probably too much time playing it, because then when I've transferred to playing other FPSs, I kind of still have that mentality of like I've fought a bit, I'm going to hold back a bit until I'm ready to go in for like another blast. The colours, the alien weaponry, the quirky enemies, that's such a different, like when that IP first hit, there wasn't anything quite like it.
Yeah, I remember that.
The vehicle play and the fact like how cool the concept of the Halo itself was. Like you're on a ring that's spinning. I mean, like when you're into stuff like that, like Dyson spheres and you know solar like sails and things like this, which I think probably most people of my age at the time were kind of thinking, oh, this stuff's kind of cool. You're on the Halo, and then the storyline, like you have a third enemy like the Flood. When these guys drop, it changes everything. Like you get to the mid game, and it takes on a whole new lease of life. And I think that's some of the campaigns for games can be quite long, but I feel that Halo Combat Evolved just flies by for me, and I've
got it right.
That game
just got it right, didn't it? It just but I could literally tell you where I was when I first played Halo. I remember exactly the first time I put that game on, like, and I remember thinking like,
guessing at home, like in your room.
What is this? This is like the best game I've ever played. Like I remember thinking that at the time, like. I remember legit thinking this is the best first-person shooter I've ever played in my life, and I was like playing it co-op and everything, and I was like, this is insane. Like this is insane.
Was the feature, wasn't it?
I remember thinking like, oh my god, this is like, I like the assault rifle, the first assault rifle sound like one of my favorite weapons in a game ever. Like. I remember we went to my cousin's for like a weekend to stay there, and like he was like, "Oh, do you want to play Halo?" I was like, "Oh, it's Halo," and he's like, "Oh, go play it." And he put it on, and I was like, "Oh my god!" So I was like, we rinsed the whole campaign over the weekend. Like we just did the whole thing, and I was like, "Yeah, this is insane!" Like, and that I must have been like 12, 13, we'd gone to stay at my cousin's and was like just played the whole campaign. It was so sick. But like
it's brilliant.
It just an amazing game, and so much more added to it when you play it in co-op. Like
that's why I think for me it was the best game, because the new IP was cool, the game mechanics were cool, having the vehicles was cool, the setting was cool, the storyline was cool, but being there with your bro. Shout out to Tom Hurst if he ends up watching this, but get in the back, I'll drive. There's moments like that you'll never forget, and you know it's just one of those games that's pure quality. And the Master Chief Collection, for any of you sort of getting turned on to the idea of playing this from listening to this podcast, it's a big download. It's like 100 and something gig. But once you've installed it, you can choose which other games to
worth
uninstall.
every penny though.
And it's worth £11.99 worth of pennies because it's free on Game Pass.
But that
Yeah.
That now has got like ODST on it, Reach, like, you know, whatever. 4. It's all been added onto it, hasn't it? Yeah, it's got so worth every penny to pay for that. It really is.
I mean, that's a lot of gameage for $11.99.
And it's got like 7,000 gamer score or something. Like, you will be going at that game for a while.
If you want to put your teeth in it, yeah.
Yeah.
So another cool thing about that as well was the kudos of having completed it on Legendary in either single player or co-op. I know you've done that, Tay. Have you done all of them Legendary?
I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 Legendary solo, and like, mate, Halo 2. I've wanted to boil my own head. So there was a couple of bits in it where I was like, this game is broken. I was like, this is insane. Like. So
Halo 2
is legit the hardest one on Legendary. It is so. In fact, I'd say that's one of the hardest games I've ever played on like a hard difficulty. The bit where
and it's all because of one enemy.
Sniper jackals. Sniper jackals. Yeah, I know exactly what you say. So there's a bit on Metropolis where you come out, as soon as you poke your head out, bang, dead. That's okay. I didn't even get a look, like, you know, whatever. And then
you get caught in a spawn loop as well. That's the worst.
You die, come up, die, spawn, die, whatever. And then there's a bit when you go on to High Charity and you start fighting the red brutes with the red plasma rifles.
Yeah.
And there's a bit, you literally start the level with no gun. And you're like, oh, there's 2 brutes there, like, have fun. And that I must have died 50, 60 times just trying to get past that one bit at the start of the level. Like, and I was like, I've not even got into, like, the next checkpoint yet. But, like, mate, completing that on Legendary is like, holy shit, I've done it. Like, like it's...
I think for me, like, I remember the first time I played Halo 1, and it wasn't with anyone. It was back in the days of the demo disc.
Yes, mate.
Silent Cartographer
Best level.
Was the demo level.
Best level.
And like, fucking blew my mind. I was like, do you know what? The mission's cool. Diving in with the Marines on the beach is
Beach
cool.
assault,
But then you can wipe everything, and you can just dick around in a Warthog. And just fucking ride around as fast as you can. And, oh man,
so
I remember seeing
that.
I don't know if it was like Rob Hamilton and Tom Lomas that. I don't know if it was you as well, Taylor, or maybe even you, Kai. Just blowing up the Warthogs and just doing crazy stuff with the physics,
Warthog jump.
About.
You just
Me and Lomas spent the entire 6-week holidays from school just playing Halo 1 at one point. Like every single day for 6 weeks.
Man.
But like, so I mean that's a cool.
You could get the Warthog like out of the map, couldn't you? If you blew it,
you could get it to the map completely.
Yeah, if you blow it high enough. Yeah, absolutely insane. Yeah, so funny. But so many wonderful memories are tied to that game. Like, so many. Yeah, I'd still play it now. I can't wait until Luke's old enough to play it co-op. That'll be the first game I play co-op with him. Like, 100%. Like,
That's fucking sick.
Yeah, we'll do it all, start to finish. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll do it all. I can't wait. Like, I'm really excited to do that with him co-op. Like,
if you love him, don't make him play 2 on Legendary, even in co-op, because
no promises.
We had a lot of.
We've been replaying it recently. It's just horrendous.
I remember Kai's BS filter
is
very, very bad. On the single player,
some of the later ones.
Yeah, maybe 3. I think.
Yeah, I think it was 3 and onwards where they introduced multiple people.
I think.
Moving on though, because we've been on Halo for a while.
Let's go.
So that could have easily be a top one. So.
Oh man, yeah.
Next one then. Okay. So. Right, I know where to start this. I'm taking a journey to work, and it's just a normal day, but it's a town that's unfamiliar to me, and the people on the train, like the tram thing that I'm on, they're all speaking really conspiratorially. Hushed tones, and there's some kind of unease about this world already. So you get out and you go through the station. There's like massive bits of propaganda all over the place. There's this silverback-looking guy, spouting off nonsense, and it's like, okay, you get on with it, and eventually, as you're coming through, you see this pretty burly-looking security guard guy looking at you, kind of waiting there. He walks up to you, sees this bin, takes his trunch, and just knocks this can off onto the floor. Pick it up, and you're like, I'm playing a game. I'm going to get. I have no weapons. I have no weapons. Oh, and he's got his boys with him here. okay, this is my first time playing the game, so I don't really know how it works. So I'm going to try and beat this guy up. And you know what? This is one of the moments in my life where I felt sick with myself because I went over and I picked it up and I put it in the bin. I got absolutely bitched out and intimidated by this. Fast forward just not even that long, and I've decided that I'm not going to comply, and what feels like the entire city is after me, and I'm running for my life. There's drones coming out, there's these soldiers firing all sorts of weird weapons and like grenades and things like this. The graphics are insane. Like at the time I'd not seen anything like it. It was a quantum leap above everything else. And you know, that just sort of, that escape, amazing. Shortly after that, meeting up with the Resistance guys, we come into a place where they don't go anymore, and it's like these ridiculous monsters have taken over this territory. So you've had this crazy sort of modern, like future dystopian kind of vibe going on, and now you're in like a full-on horror game. And then you fast forward a bit, you're in this massive courtyard fighting this crazy walking thing that is just mowing through you and your allies, and then, you know, fast forward a little bit at that, and there's this scene that's just like something straight out of hell, where there's all these people, like prisoners, stuck in these pods getting moved along. Like if you've seen The Matrix, it's similar kind of looking thing to that. And then you fast forward a bit more, and you're scaling this huge tower. Crazy physics, crazy gameplay. The antlions, you know, that whole thing. It's Half-Life 2.
The Raft.
Absolutely incredible game.
Half-Life 2.
The physics and the interactivity of the world. Did Shenmue predate Half-Life 2? I'm not sure off the top of my head. I should have probably looked into that before jumping into this.
Couldn't tell you, don't know.
It felt like you could interact with almost everything.
Now.
So not like Red Faction was where you could destroy almost everything that was there. That was much further after. But Half-Life 2 is it's just so good. The character design, the storyline, again, just great. A great universe to be involved in.
The narrative,
especially
in it
if you've already played Half-Life 1.
Half-Life.
Yeah. Shenmue 2 was a couple, 3 years before. But
when was Shenmue 1?
We don't go to.
I mean, We Don't Go to Ravenholm has got to be.
That, right?
1999.
We Don't Go to Ravenholm has got to be one of the best video game levels ever created. Ever. And I mean, like, ever.
Yes.
Like, it is. It's a.
When you pick up the circular saw blade.
It's as soon as you walk in. As soon as you walk in and you see that, like, zombie, like, swinging in the tree, you're like, oh, this is going to be so much fun. And
do you remember the enemies as well?
You get like the black zombies.
Skin.
Yeah, the black zombies that had like loads. So they like had the poisonous ones and threw them at you, and then there was the ones with no skin that would run and like
run up the
you'd be on top of it, and you'd see the pipes going, and you're like, "Come on, motherfucker!" Like you know, like shotgun ready, like
That was the first experience for me of like verticality in an FPS. Because,
man,
the stuff coming up at you. Like normally when you've got the high grounds, I mean, look how it ended up for Anakin Skywalker. But you know, when you have these things coming up the pipes, you know, and you're like, ammo check. Don't
coming
know if I've got enough of this, mate.
Like you'd see like one pipe going, then another one would be going. Oh yeah, we don't go to Ravenholm.
You played that game with headphones, and you know you might have some developmental issues if you play that game too young.
It was just such a masterpiece. Like it really was. Like it is a master. I've recently played through it a few months ago, and
it stands up still, right? It
100%.
still has it.
But like you know, I mean, it's just so gutting because like Half-Life 3, man. What happened to it? Like, I still want to see it.
I know everyone wants Half-Life 3, but like when VR becomes even more accessible than it is now, like for the love of fuck, play Alex.
I know Alex. I know the end of Alex changes it somewhat, doesn't it? I know it does. It's
freaking wild, and again,
So potentially, maybe we will have a Half-Life 3 at some point, but
potentially,
I can't. There's not a bad word to say about it. I'm so glad you brought it up because it's just such a flawless game.
Let me say a few more good words about it then. How many times?
Crossbow in gaming as well.
Say again.
I was gonna say a few more.
Crossbow in gaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like the glowy thing. I was just gonna say how awesome was that sort of mocap dog robot thing?
Oh,
like
dog.
how awesome! It's
Dog.
like, you know, when you're playing basketball with it, and it's fetching,
man.
and like there's bits in the level where it comes and saves you, and it was so well done. It was so well animated. And
when Dog shows up towards the end of the game and starts pummeling the shit out of a Strider, and you're just like, yes, like it's so cinematic. That's the other thing. The game is so cinematic. Like it's there's bits like where you'll be in the street and you'll be like trying to kill a Strider with a rocket launcher or something, and it'll just like walk over you, and you're like looking at it, and you're just like, this is insane. Like, and there's like other people fighting other Combine. It's like you're in a full-on war zone, like towards the end of the game, and it's a phenomenal game. Like, I just can't.
It breaks the illusion of being a game quite a few times, quite successfully. So what you were just saying there about like, you're not the only one in the Resistance fighting. There is shizzle kicking off all around you. Like you're a part of this world, and obviously quite an influential part of it. But it's you're along for the ride just as much as you're participating. And I think that was
absolutely.
It's just fantastic. And I will just say it, and I know that you'll hear this in your head. So the sound when you start charging your shield, you can hear that, can't you? And the sound when you pick up a health pack as well. It's just those sound effects even now evoke that response.
Amazing.
And I'm hoping
I think
that if I go on.
I think I had the as my text tone for ages, like the start sound of the health kit on the wall, and it'd be like dee. That used to be my text tone for ages.
That's solid.
But yeah, it's amazing how like even just hearing a sound like puts you back in a place, or like I remember playing Half-Life 1 in my dad's like what's equivalent to like my man cave now, when we used to live on Fairfield Road, and I railed like Half-Life 1 Blue Shift and Opposing Force in like a week, and
Blue Shift was fantastic.
Opposing Force was even better in my opinion. Opposing Force was sick, like, because that fully changed your perspective on the whole game. Like, you were playing it as a Marine, you'd get these sick weapons. I remember you had like a big, massive, like heavy machine gun, and some of the enemies were solid on Opposing Force. They were so hard, but like Opposing Force was like, Blue Shift was a little shorter, but Opposing Force was easily as long, if not longer, than Half-Life 1. It was massive Opposing Force. It was huge.
Bringing us back to Half-Life 2 then,
sorry,
the DLC
carry on.
for that was just incredible.
Amazing again.
There was, what was cool about that as well is, if I remember right, there was brand new like DX 9, 10, whatever, brand new features that hadn't been seen before in games. There was all that stuff with the lighting. I can't remember what it was called now, but like the bloom sort of things. And then the second DLC pack as well, like it just looked incredible. Like when you're on those hilltops looking across.
Oh.
And you know when you're taking that sort of
brought in a few new enemies
around.
As well, didn't it? Yeah.
Was it the original Half-Life 2 game where you have to cross the underside of that bridge and there's the trains kind of going across? That was the OG
So there was
game,
a level where you had to go all the way under the bridge, get to the other side, turn the shield off, go all the way back, get back on your car, and then you could go over the bridge. And that's the other beauty of the Half-Life games, is that it's not just a first-person shooter. There's like bits in that game where you really have to think like, oh shit, what have I got to do here? Like, this is a puzzle. Like, this is a puzzle.
Yeah, like physics-based, like stacking boxes on top of another and stuff like that.
Yeah. And
I'd not done that
going
before
to the
game.
extreme of having physics puzzles with vehicles.
The
fucking hovercraft, you know, having to make stuff for that.
Sure,
it's like
you'd have to
had ever done that.
You'd have to swim to put the barrels under that ramp to lift it up, and then you could jump over the ramp.
It's nuts.
That game, like, I literally know it like the back of my hand. I've played it that many times. It's so. But episode 2, like, brought in the Zombine and brought in the little mini Striders that, like, what were they called? Were they called Stalkers or something? I can't remember, but they were sick. Like the last couple of hours of episode 2, where you're like in that, you're trying to launch the rocket ship, and it's just, again, it's like the episode end of Half-Life 2. It's just chaos. Buildings are exploding.
Is that a bit where you're in the lighthouse?
Is it? I thought it was like you're in the middle of a forest on at the end of episode 2.
I might be getting the bits mixed up because it's been a little while since I played it.
At the end of episode 2, you're trying to launch the rocket ship, aren't you? And
gonna have to go back and play it again to refresh my memory.
It's 100% worth playing, even if you did.
Hopefully, it'll run on a Ryzen 3500U laptop. I'm between when I'm working.
Should be fine. But my battery's running low, so we best carry on. But like Half-Life 2,
Let's
man,
be swift then.
What an incredible game! Like again, I can't name a bad. Actually, I've got one bad point about it, in this minuscule, tiny little bad point. The submachine gun sound design is too loud.
Yeah.
Like, that's my only beef.
Very specific.
That's my only beef. That is it. Everything else, like the gravity gun. Who didn't have fun?
Crazy.
Who didn't have fun using that
so
gun? Like,
fun.
just
it's revolutionary. That was
hurling razor blades at zombies. Like it just like.
The closest we've had a weapon to the gravity gun is the new Prey game with the glue gun.
Yeah.
Yes, where you'd like make it along the
paths with it.
Yes.
That's the closest thing we've had to a truly.
But the gravity gun
has been defining.
Yeah. But again, like the gravity gun just changes how you play the entire game. It just like, here's an explosive barrel. I'm going to pick that up and hurl it at my enemies, rather than like.
But it like the gravity gun takes it from being a normal shooter and makes it actual thinking shooter.
Yeah.
Where you're like, I actually have to use a weapon to do things without killing stuff.
Yeah, it's so good. It just genius. Like,
strong shout,
it deserves something new. Like, it really does.
I just think a remaster. I think just if they try and make it, the new stuff was always going to be really horrendously criticized. Even if it is perfect, people will never be happy because that's just people on the internet.
Well, when was Half-Life 2 now? When was it?
I'm not sure the date.
When was Half-Life 2? 2004. No, it wasn't. Wow.
That's crazy.
Yep.
So that game's 16 years old. 17 this year.
Yeah, so let's redo it in Unreal Engine 4 or 5 with ray tracing, guys. Come on, Valve. Anyway, so I think I've got an honourable mention and I've got my final game. I was thinking it might be fun if I do my honourable mention first. What do you reckon, Kai? What do you reckon?
Do it.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Yeah,
honourable mention. So, very quick story then, just to set the pace. So, it's a really hopeful, upbeat universe, and it's a sort of coming-of-age tale. You're just about to leave home. You're going into the village place. You meet the scientist there, and you find your companion who's going to be with you through this massive adventure. You're not too sure which companion to take with you, but you settle on one and you don't regret a decision, even though your nasty ass rival guy picks the one which is going to be really strong against yours for the entire game. But nevertheless,
I know what this is.
You explore, you have great fun, you try and accomplish the dream of capturing them all, which you've got to do, and you make a name for yourself in this world. You save the day from terrorists and Team Rocket terrorists, I don't know what they call them these days, but it's Pokemon, and I'm going for Pokemon Red because that's the one that I spent the most time on. Now, one of the things that was awesome about this game is it was on Game Boy, so you didn't have to take over the TV. There was no beef in those days because, like, a lot of families you'd have like just maybe the one or two TVs, and if you've got siblings, you got to share with them. It's like, who invented sharing? F that. So you've got the Game Boy, and not only is that really cool, but when everyone else started catching up to it and started getting into Pokemon in the West, like in the UK, people were buying it, and all of a sudden now you can trade Pokemon with people, and everyone wanted that lineup where you had each of the starting Pokemon traded to you.
Yeah.
You had like a Pikachu as well, just because you loved the show and you were never going to stop watching the show ever because it's the best thing. You had all the cards. In fact, you got started on in time because someone knew you had these cards and you beat them up and you impressed your friend. And, all these great memories associated with Pokemon. But just how much of a great adventure it was. Like beating the gym leaders. Yeah, check that out, man.
Yeah, man.
and it's just been fantastic.
An entire Gengar collection next to me.
Yeah. So I mean, Pokemon Red is my honourable mention there. Just a fantastic game, really well balanced.
Yeah, man, good shout.
I know that the graphics were they monochromatic because they had that red tone. They were like a red monochrome kind of thing.
On the original Game Boy, it was crazy.
And last time I went on holiday,
I've still got red emulated on my phone at the moment. So.
Yeah, just about to say that. I had my old iPhone 7. I had a Game Boy Advance emulator, and I had what was it called? Something Red, Sapphire Red, or something like that.
Sapphire Red, yeah.
Yeah, and I played that while we're on the big drives going to Isle of Wight and back. Just rinsing through that, and a fresh lick of paint can do wonders. Like a couple of modern creature comforts and player conveniences and modern mechanics. It just that was a fantastic experience. But Red will always hold a special place in my heart, because that's the first one I got. I did buy blue, I did buy yellow, I did buy green, I bought gold and silver, and then for me, that was my Pokemon journey. Yeah. For me, that was the end of my Pokemon journey for many, many years, and I had a great time in that universe. Really enjoyed it.
Go on, Tay.
It'd be nice to see Pokemon, a game like that, bird's eye view, like a bit like Zelda's Link Awakening, get the Zelda's Link Awakening treatment. Be brought into the 21st century a bit, and I think
they're doing it. They're doing one. Is it Diamond and
interesting
Sapphire? Is it? We might have to pop something up on the screen to sort of add a visual element to this when you edit it later. But there is
solid shout there, Joe. Solid shout. Yeah, good game.
Yeah, so
I think most kids would be lying if they said they didn't play a Pokemon game like that when they were growing up. Like, it was the show we all undoubtedly grew up watching. It was
even casual gamers, fucking everyone got into
everyone knew Pokemon at one point who didn't have Pokemon cards. It was huge. Still is huge. The
fucking trade link cable, man.
I still play Pokemon Go every day.
I did start of this year.
Yeah, I remember you saying you started it. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a massive Gengar collection and then stuff.
I wouldn't say I'm a massive Pokemon Go player, but I play it every day. Yeah.
Stopped now.
Yeah, I just put it on.
Joe, favourite Pokemon before we move on? Gengar for me. Fight me.
Bulbasaur. It's just that was how the Leech Seed thing, along with Toxic, when you could buy the TM for it. That was just you could beat the Elite Four or whatever the hell they were called, just with those two moves, and just Bulbasaur. But Charmander as well.
Taylor, favourite Pokemon?
Oh man, I always really liked Kabutops. I always thought he was a sick looking Pokemon because he had the size and I was like, he's sick, man.
That's a fucking awesome shout, dude.
Probably because he's got some sort of element of looking a bit like Alien, and I just probably draw to that.
That's fair.
So,
right.
Yeah.
Right then, moving on to the number one.
I'm looking forward to this. Yeah.
This is not me necessarily saying it's the best game in the world that everyone's going to enjoy, but I think this is the game that I've probably had the most fun playing, and it's the one that I just, even now, I want to go back and play it again, and it's not Witcher 3. I'm going to leave that one out. That was not having this game as Witcher 3 was a tough decision, but I thought I've got to leave Taylor with something. If you don't pick Witcher 3 now on yours, I'm going to strangle because I wanted to have this one. But
it's not on my list, I'm afraid.
It's not got there. Right, so Witcher 3 is number 6. But yeah, this one, let me just a brief scene from this one. So I think I'm up at the top of I've climbed up because the streets below me are just absolutely terrifying. I can't hear anything but a storm. I'm just completely engulfed by this thing. Everywhere around me, it's just pissing it down. It's pitch black. Every so often, the entire world gets lit up by these massive flashes of lightning that just deafen you like that. You take a look over and see if the coast is clear. The coast is not clear. You don't even know if the coast has ever been clear in this game. And then, all of a sudden, you hear a noise which just puts the fear of death straight into you. You know what it is, and it's too late because you know from that sound that it's spotted you. So you start running. You're far away from safety. You've got no hope. What is chasing you cannot be killed. And not only that, this thing that's chasing you that can't be killed, it's screaming and it's summoning more of them. They're coming from all around. Now you're on the rooftop and nothing being high up, that's safe. You are safe from most things up there. But not these things. They're just flying up at you. The aggression, the sound effects of these things roar, absolutely baying for your blood. You're there. You're sprinting, you're jumping through buildings, you're getting in the actual weaving and winding of the streets, you're sliding around the things, you're trying to set off traps just to buy yourself some more time. You're sprinting and there's a button. Why did they put this button in? There's a button where you can just quickly glance back over your shoulder. And then in that split second where you just take a look back, you see them coming down the buildings behind you and just hauling ass after you, but they're gaining on you all the time. There's no way you can escape. and this is when they catch you, they tear you to pieces, and you die because you shouldn't have gone out at night time when the light was dying. You should have gone home. This game is the dying light, and it was the best experience I've had gaming. So I played this co-op with Kai over the course of, it was like a couple of months, wasn't it? Going through the stories. Yeah. I mean, there's some fetch quest BS in there, and the zombie thing had been done to death at this point. You know, everyone was sort of getting over Walking Dead, the initial first bit before they got back into it, and the graphics, the gameplay. I enjoyed Dead Island. I played both. Riptide. Oh, the sound design was great. Yeah, so Dead Island. Imagine Dead Island with parkour, like adding that verticality to it. Yeah, just incredible. I've rinsed Dying Light. Great game. Yeah.
Yeah. There's so much to be said about being in a storm in Dying Light. There really was. I remember the first time me and Joe were playing it, and we'd got to a base on a roof, and there was a storm ahead, and there was a fire in a bin, and you had the reflection of the rain and everything, and it was just so much to take in. I actually remember my setup then, because I was playing in a blacked out room, and all I had was an ultra wide screen, and it was honestly frightening.
Yeah, man.
It was so well done that you were in that fucking game.
Sure.
Yeah, honestly, like, oh man.
The night and day mode is amazing. Yeah. The night, like when you start seeing the sun go down, you're like, I really need to get inside.
You hear that sound as well. Yeah. You hear that sort of warning sound.
Sure.
But the thing is, the quest that you're just about to complete is just over there.
Yeah. You're like,
and you think, I can make it. I can make it there and back.
Then you don't. Yeah.
No, you can't. You can't. Respawn.
And the driving mechanics in it felt fucking brilliant. In the first part, I didn't like the DLC.
I never played the DLC.
The first part,
Yeah,
but in the first part of the game, like any car experience was great in it, and just generally being limited to melee weapons. Like there was a couple of firearms, but there were very few, and if you use them, you
just attract more
felt penalised. Yeah. You were like, I really want to shoot you, but
they were like a last chance saloon kind of weapon. They were like, I am fucked here. Like, out comes the shotgun.
And you got so many good indoor bits as well. And I know it's obviously the parkour's all for the outside stuff, really. But
it was really atmospheric. It really, like horror. Some of the real horror at times. Yeah, at night, and
the excitement.
Really good.
The violence, like the sort of like visceral nature of the combat, which is fantastic. And the weapons system, like the crafting system, was great. The character development system was pretty cool. Like you could choose which ways you would F things up, and like you could play different ways if you want. You could go in, you could brawl, you could be stealthy, you could do the whole Walking Dead thing where you cover them in the guts and you can be invisible and just get like a little bit of a breather. But the like the water and the this will be an interesting topic for those who've played Dying Light. The grappling hook, it was great and terrible at the same time. So you could have it save your ass and almost too much, like it could make the game too easy at points. But at other points, when you laugh hysterically because you know you should have died because you've just fallen off the bridge onto these rocks and somehow save yourself from dying, it's like, oh, I can't believe I lived, absolutely crazy times. And but ultimately, it's a game of chase. It's a game of TIG. And I think it's the best game of TIG that you could ever play because you can go up anywhere. You don't have to worry about breaking stuff or getting arrested. And the enemies on it, it's your standard zombie enemies that get in almost everything. You've got your Juggernaut type one, you've got your spitty long range one, you've got your really aggressive ones and your normal ones. But then you had the they weren't called ferals because they were just the normal ones that would come after you. Very very similar to Half-Life 2, the sort of skinless ones that would run after you. But there was another one beyond that, which has the sort of like almost predator jaws. And
you had volatiles.
Volatiles. Oh man, these things. What was cool about that is that they would just F you up. Like you could beat one just in a one-on-one fight, depending on what difficulty you're on, and that was it. By the time you finish fighting that one, you're surrounded and you're going to get done. Bearing in mind Taylor's batch is probably going to go. I'm just going to finish with like one or two more little things from that. The Nightcrawler thing was nuts. Like when you had that thing coming in, and it's like as many humans, and even if you're on the same headset chat together, you're trying to fight against this Nightcrawler. you're never gonna beat that thing. And the DLC, a quick word for the DLC. There's a time when myself and Kai were playing this, and we were way off the beaten path. We were way too far out, and we should never have allowed ourselves to get there. And we spawned on this point, this sort of it's like a massive pole. It's like a huge treehouse kind of thing, and there was volatiles all around us because it was nighttime. One of us would die, we'd respawn, and we were just stuck. These guys, they amped up the difficulty because, like, if you think about the OG game, like the vanilla one, non-DLC, you could outrun them fairly easily sometimes. Yeah. If you're in a car, especially, you could get away from them. But on the DLC, they must have just received the craziest speed boost because they're just hauling ass at you. Yeah, you're done. Yeah. So that's why Dying Light is my favorite game of all time.
Yeah, man.
Great graphics, atmospheric sound design,
great choice.
Brilliant mechanics, a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And it's still one of those games that, like, you can grind, you can spend hours doing what you want to do, or you can just pick it up and just have 20 minutes of great fun.
Yeah. It's still visually incredible as well, like, genuinely, and they still update it regularly, which is just nuts.
Yeah.
I'm sure
that's another reason that the dev support for that game, like, so much content added, and it
Dying Light 2 is on its way as well. Dying Light 2 is on its way.
Yeah, boy.
I'm sure I've got a compilation on my Xbox of me just drop kicking people off buildings on Dying Light.
The drop kick was the funniest.
I'll see if I can find it and I'll
game.
send it you. But, like, I'm pretty sure I made a compilation when I was like, I'm just gonna drop kick loads of people.
That El Toro thing as well, where you just get them and just chuck them.
Yeah, man.
That was great.
Yeah.
So good.
Honestly, one of my very top 5 co-op games as well. Like,
it's a good co-op game. It's a great co-op game. Yeah, really good fun. Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. Great list, Joe.
So much fun.
Sick list.
Thank you very much for that list,
sick
Joe.
List.
Some solid shouts.
But
thank you to anyone that's stuck around until this point. It's been a little bit of a longer episode, and very thankful for it.
Though. Good games to discuss.
The next episode is going to be Taylor's top 5, which I'm very excited for.
Oh, man.
I cannot wait to hear what you've narrowed it down to.
Don't, because I'm still not 100% sure on it. There's so many games.
Remember, top 5 plus a bonus.
Well, I'll tell you now what I've done. I can't choose between 2 games of the same. Okay. So they're just what I can't do it. I can't fucking do it. I can't do it. It's they're both on a par for me, and I just can't do it. So we'll discuss it next week anyway. But I'm really excited to discuss them. So yeah,
I can't wait. I absolutely cannot wait to hear them, man.
Yeah, we'll see how we go on. But yeah, cheers for your list, Joe. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, really good. Yeah. So
and anyone that has been watching, let us know your top 5 down in the comments. Let us know what you think of Joe's top 5. What your favourite game out of his list is.
Tell your mates.
Like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you next time, guys. Signing out. Peace.